Hello everyone. So today we'll be discussing a new topic, that is positive statement versus normative statement. Now this topic is quite small and I have mostly seen it in MCQs. I haven't seen any essay question on this. So just let's get started. First of all, we'll discuss what is a normative statement. Now, normative statements are the statements that are based on value judgments and opinions, and due to this, they cannot be proven right or wrong. In other words, you can call them subjective in nature. Now, why we cannot prove them right or wrong is because they are based on your opinion, and obviously, the opinions can differ, due to which you cannot falsify them. Now, for example, if someone says that inflation is too high this year, now how much high it is? What if the inflation rate is 2% this year? Now, for a rich person, this might not be that high, or maybe he won't even budge. But for a poor, it is still high because now the things will get expensive and he has to pay more. So by the word of too high, you cannot guess how much high the inflation is. So it's still like an opinion. While for positive statements, these are based on facts, and due to this, they can be proven right or wrong. That is why we call them objective in nature. Now, for example, if it is someone says unemployment is 10% this year, now I can prove this through the economic reports that are issued throughout the year by checking how much the inflation rate is this year. What if the inflation rate is 12? Then I can say that no, you are wrong. The inflation rate is not 10%, it is 12%. So I can debate on it. So the positive statements can be proven right or wrong, but the normative statements cannot be proven right or wrong because they are based upon your opinions, your own thinking. But there are some cases in which both normative and positive statements can be combined. Now, for example, there's a problem that is inflation rose from 7 to 10%. Now, this is a positive statement that, and as you know, that can be proven from the economic reports that inflation rate moved from 7 to 10% or more. But now you can see that the solution is a normative statement. How? That it is saying government can use supply side policies to reduce inflation. Now, how is it an opinion? Because it's not necessary that the government is only going to use supply side policies. They can also use fiscal policies, they can also use monetary policies, or any other policy they like. So the fact is that sometimes for the positive problems, you also require solutions based upon your normative statements. Alright everyone, so let's just discuss some MCQs for a much better understanding. So the first question says, which statement is a normative statement? So option A says, aggregate demand will increase following a decrease in interest rates. So, well, if we know then interest rates fall, spendings increase and savings fall, which causes aggregate demand to rise, and we can prove it through the aggregate demand and aggregate supply diagram. So it is a positive statement. Option B says a rise in unemployment will decrease inflationary pressures. Well, this depends upon what kind of unemployment there is, and because it's not always necessary that a rise in unemployment will decrease inflationary pressures. So there can be a debate, and this statement can be proven right or wrong. Option C says the incentive to work will rise if benefit payments are reduced. Well, yes, there's a possibility that when benefit payments are reduced, then some of the unemployed workers are encouraged to find jobs. So it can also be proven. But option D says unstable economic growth is more harmful to the economy than hyperinflation. Now this word more shows that it is more like an opinion. Like in that unstable economic growth is more harmful to the economy than hyperinflation. Now we don't know how much harmful it will be. So that is why option D is the answer, since it's a normative statement. Now the next MCQ says, below are two statements. The statement 1 is, a rise in the price of rice is the best way to give farmers in Southeast Asia higher living standards. Well, this is more like a normative statement, like how it says is the best way. So it is more like an opinion, like you consider that this is the best way, so it can differ with others, due to which this statement is a normative statement. And the other says, a rise in the price of rice will lead to a fall in demand. And yes, it is debatable. It can improve it right or wrong through the demand and supply diagram, which makes this a positive statement. Now what the question says, which row correctly describes these two statements? And we have already identified, one is normative and 2 is positive, so B is the answer here. Now last question, which list has the most words that are likely to relate to a positive statement than to a normative statement? So let's just read all these words. If the first in option A is describe, well, it is not related neither to positive nor to normative. The next is better. It is more like a normative word, and there is a word should that is also normative, so A cannot be, because it is asking about a positive statement. Now bias, no, and objective, yes, but there's also another word that is opinion, so this also makes B wrong. C, contestable, yes, is, well, it is not a, it is neither positive nor normative. Motive, no. Subjective makes it normative, so C is also wrong. So yes, the D is the answer, but let's just discuss the words in D. Actual, yes. Ethics, yes. Fact, that is what I said, evidence, fact. Was and testable, so D is the answer. So I hope you guys had a better understanding of this topic through these MCQs as well. So we'll meet